Friday, September 26, 2025. Will and Elektra find out that the pregnancy is confirmed today on The Bold and the Beautiful, and Taylor has two unexpected guests at work, Brooke and Deacon. Editors have picked all of the featured goods and services on their own. On orders placed through its retail connections, Soaps.com might get paid a commission, and the retailer might get some auditable data for their records. Elektra recounts what Will told her about that night at the Forrester guest house, including the fact that Luna is expecting his child. Will objects, saying that Luna might be lying. He cannot let her go. Will promises that he would never voluntarily have sex with Luna. "She's at your dad's house?" asks Elektra. Will gives a nod. She yells, "Let's leave." May all of the loved soap stars who passed away in 2025 rest in peace. Bill and Katie tell Luna to remain where she is at their house. "Why would you want to leave the family home?" she asks, grinning. "Do they not want their grandchild to feel accepted by their family?" Luna then tries to embarrass them. Regarding a paternity test, Bill groans. She is positive that this is Will's child. Until Elektra and Will enter, the back and forth continues. Luna is told by Elektra that she ought to have left. She had to stay and try to ruin their life, even though she could have had a nice one. "You will regret not leaving LA when you had the opportunity, I assure you." Deacon lashes out at Sheila at Il Giardino because she knew Luna was still alive but chose to hide it from him. By remaining silent, she deceived him daily. Deacon insists on hearing the entire tale. Sheila informs him that Luna is not only still alive but also carrying Will Spencer's child. Deacon's eyes almost bulge from his skull. Deacon finds it incomprehensible that Will is so enamored with Elektra Forrester. Sheila is compelled to clarify that Luna was present in disguise on the night of Will's party when he presses for further details. "Who the hell did she learn that from?" screams Deacon. According to Sheila, her granddaughter added high-test alcohol to Will's drinks. Deacon erupts as he realizes it's the bottle he discovered behind the bar. He makes his living here. Does she come here to terrorize? She targeted Will and murdered his employees. "You were aware of this?" he yells. "I can't even look at you," at Sheila. He makes Sheila look at the pictures of Hollis and Tom while he paces. Every day he misses them. Sheila claims that she experienced the same grief as her grandchild. "That bitch belongs in prison," Deacon hisses. Sheila believed she could assist her. Deacon yells, "What are you helping her with? Will Spencer? Has she not learned anything?" She is accused by Deacon of purposefully misleading him. She is regressing. "No," Sheila says, shaking her head. His wife is left reeling as Deacon declares she scares the living daylights out of him and leaves. Brooke stops by Taylor's office where she works. The world-renowned psychiatrist TM tries to get rid of her enemy because she isn't exactly happy to see her. Brooke persistently inquires about Taylor's well-being. She clucks, "Ridge hated hurting you." The blonde doesn't have to tell Taylor that. She acknowledges that it was unpleasant, yet she is grateful for many things. Hearing that she will be okay gives Brooke a sense of relief. Brooke ignores Taylor's repeated attempts to get rid of her. She claims that she is positive fate will give Taylor a completely different existence. When Deacon arrives at Taylor's workplace, she is by herself. There was nowhere else for him to go. He says, "I think I'm going crazy." He admits while seated that he is experiencing problems with Sheila. Taylor advises him to talk to someone else. Deacon needs someone who understands. "What's this about?" says Taylor. "Luna," says Deacon. Luna is crazy. Elektra tells Luna that there isn't her and Will at Bill's house. "There was the night of his party," she says with a smile. She looked like Elektra to Will. Katie is really sorry that Elektra is experiencing this. Bill informs Luna that his kid is not interested in her. Elektra is informed by Luna that she is expecting Will's child. She is accused of cheating on the test. Bill reveals that it is true. Katie attests to it. When it came to something as lovely as having a child with Will, Luna wouldn't lie. As Elektra watches homicidally, She triumphantly rubs her stomach. The silence after Luna's defiant whisper was so sharp it could have split glass. And though the room was full of people, every breath, every heartbeat seemed to center on her smug little hand resting on her belly like a crown jewel, and Electra, though usually polished, graceful and careful with every word she uttered as a forester, felt something primal surge in her veins, a fury so consuming that even Katie instinctively stepped closer as if bracing to intervene. And Will, torn apart by guilt, shame and confusion, reached toward Electra as though his touch could ground her, but she yanked her arm back with the speed of a whip, her eyes never leaving Luna. Her voice breaking into a tremor that somehow carried more weight than a scream as she hissed that Luna had not only ruined her relationship but had poisoned the very foundation of their families, and that no child, no matter whose, would magically erase the lies and cruelty that had brought them here, while Luna, ever the provocateur, tilted her head and mocked that Electra sounded jealous, desperate, clinging to a man who had already chosen with his actions, intentional or not, to be with her, and that when this baby was born the Spencer family would have no choice but to embrace her. And Bill, unable to hold his tongue, roared that Luna was delusional if she thought she could blackmail her way into his family, because he had fought too hard, built too much, to let a scheming girl tear it down. But Katie, always trying to balance compassion with pragmatism, pleaded that the child's welfare had to come first, though her gentle tone was swallowed by the rising tide of venom between Electra and Luna, and Will, his voice raw, finally shouted that none of this was love, none of this was destiny, that he had never wanted Luna, that what happened that night was not what she was painting it to be, and yet his words fell flat because Luna, eyes glistening like shattered glass, claimed that he could deny her all he wanted, but his child was inside her and no denial could erase that fact, and as the weight of her words hung in the air, Electra suddenly turned on Will, her voice cracking, demanding how she was supposed to believe in their future when every time she closed her eyes she saw him with Luna, when every kiss now tasted of betrayal, and Will, nearly breaking, tried to plead with her, tried to tell her he'd been drugged, that it was never his choice, but Electra's face hardened with the realization that whether he chose it or not, the outcome was the same, a child, a bond, and Luna standing there smug, victorious, rubbing her belly like she'd won. And in that moment Electra snapped, lunging forward with a ferocity that shocked everyone, only for Bill and Katie to rush between them, Katie clutching Electra's trembling arms, whispering to breathe, to think, while Bill growled at Luna to get out of his house before something irreversible happened. But Luna, with a calm that sent shivers through the room, smirked and said she wasn't leaving, that she belonged there as much as any of them, and that soon the world would see just how powerful a Spencer she could become, while Will dropped to the couch, burying his face in his hands, muttering that this couldn't be his life, that he was losing everything, and Electra, her chest heaving, spat that maybe that was exactly what was happening, because if he couldn't rid himself of Luna, then maybe she had to rid herself of him. Her voice like a dagger as she whispered that love wasn't enough when betrayal sat growing in another woman's womb, and as Katie's eyes filled with tears and Bill's jaw clenched tight enough to crack, the future of all three families hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of a scandal so destructive it could rip through Forrester, Spencer, and even Sharp lives like a wildfire that no one could stop.